We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that, but no heads.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 13th podcast. So I forgot to unmute you, so you weren't talking and nobody was playing through. So again, this is the 13th podcast. Welcome to the lovely ghost experience that we're going to have. And we're going to be talking about the paranormal today. The paranormal, the extraterrestrial alien stuff is pushed to the side. And we're going to talk about them spooky little ghosts. So we had this young lady named Zora get a hold of us on the 13th podcast. We met her on a TikTok. We were doing a live stream and we were talking to her. And she says, hey, I have a story for you. Cool. Send it to us. So she recorded about 15 minutes of this, and I think it's pretty cool that she works at a haunt, because I also work at a haunt. So it's like, man, she's having that's a scary place to have an experience like that. So this is our complete non-edited reaction to this video. We are completely real with this, because if there's certain things that sound far-fetched, we'll call it out, but we won't be a jerk about it. And Andrew, welcome, buddy. How are you doing, man?
Doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm so happy to have Andrew be bowling, bro. I'm really excited to listen to this video. She sent this to us on Friday.
Yeah,
Friday, and Andrew listened to a little bit of it, but I did not. I have not listened to it at all. So, I'm going to go on over to Discord, and then I'm going to click on that. Honestly, I'm just going to go back to my normal thing. Okay. Oh my God. Okay. I don't know what the fuck that was. But anyways. So Andrew.
yeah.
What do you think about this voice recording we're going to be hearing in just a second?
I didn't hear much of it, and what I did hear, I had my 4 kids screaming in the background.
So you couldn't really listen to it?
No, not at all.
No. Okay. All right. Well, I'm about to pull it up, and everybody, we're going to take a listen to it and check it out. Again, this is Zara, right?
Yeah.
Zara and her ghost experience at a haunt here in Texas, United States.
Hey Andrew, it's Ricky. I'm just here to speak about the haunted house that I work at. So just to give a little bit of insight, I work at World of Khaous in Tyler, Texas. We are close to being #1 in East Texas, and I have worked there for only 1 season, but the stuff that I have endured and have seen and heard are insane. So just get ready to sit down and just be like, oh my God, like that is bone chilling. So just a little bit of a backstory. World of Khaous is built on an old oil factory line. So it was actually called Old Pipe, and it used to be, again, an old oil factory, and there was a massive fire explosion that killed multiple of the workers, killed kids. There was a homeless man that has died, and it was massive, and there were multiple casualties, and only very few people have lived to tell the story. Well, because of that, the spirits think that it is a good idea to think of our haunted house as a kind of like a safe haven, as a closure for them.
It's a fucking
and
playground.
It gets everyone riled up.
They're home.
Not a lot of people know that we actually are a haunted house. So we have a few spirits that kind of lay around. They don't do anything. They just walk past, you gotta say hi, stuff like that. One of the little girls that has passed away, Her name is Rosie. And Rosie is very sweet. She's very nice. She's very funny, very fun, to play with. She's hilarious. She helps people out with scaring the customers. Like, you'll hear loud bangs and like walking behind you, and that's just her playing. She loves to goof around.
Yeah.
One of the things that
I felt like I was talking to her for a second.
is her being treated like not a kid, if that makes any sense.
Absolutely.
There is a doll in a room called Doll Room. Ironic, isn't
No,
it?
fuck that. Already.
Fuck
Fuck this.
You have a bunch of toys. You have a bed, a TV, a lamp, a baby crib.
So they basically like a kid's room.
A doll room.
Basically.
Well, Rosie is very much attached to this one doll.
Who
the
the
doll has
Hey,
black
who's
hair,
Rosie?
Looks kind of broken. The eyes will move on.
She's
its
a little girl.
own. It's a very heavy doll. Like, it feels like it could be a kid. Like, it genuinely feels like maybe like a...
It's Abigail. Annabella. What's the name?
Maybe
Annabelle.
around like maybe a 1-year-old kid. This thing is heavy. It's got some weight to it. And you have to treat it as if it is your kid. For instance, you have to bottle feed it. You have to ask, hey, can I pick you up? Is it okay if I pick you up? If you do not do baby and childlike
it's
things
possessed.
to the doll, you will get black smoke thrown into your face. You will immediately get sick, and you will start throwing up black blood, I guess you can call it. I don't know if it's black blood or black...
I would need to see that.
black
I have to
ants,
see
but
this.
it's like supposed to represent the ash from the fire that has occurred, and Rosie was the one that inhaled the most. I've been told this. I'm a medium, if I haven't said that before. So I see and hear and just have been told everyone's stories, and it's insane. We have the lady in white, who is literally a lady in white. I am truly a hardcore believer that Rosie is her daughter. She just kind of walks around, stays in her doll room, making sure that Rosie doesn't do anything dumb or stupid, doesn't mess around with anything that she's not supposed to be messing with. And she really only stays in one section, which is spandex hallway, where it's just a black curtain where nobody can see through it other than the other side. And you just reach over and you just like, just put your hands out, whatever. And sometimes whenever I was in the spandex room, because I would move around quite a lot last season, because there were some people who would call out, and my manager would be like, hey, do you mind just going over to this room, this section, whatever. And I was like,
Hell no.
well, whenever I was in spandex,
Hell no.
I reached out one night to a customer, and mind you, I can see through, they can't see me. And I reached out, and it got to the last person. It got to a little kid, and he just got like spooked. He was like, oh my God. And I felt a little tiny hand just grab my hand and try to like pull me through spandex. And mind you, that can't happen because it's spandex. It's stretchy. It's, there's only one way you can rip it, and that's if, you pull it off of the nails that, it's nailed into at the wall. So when that happened, I immediately let go of spandex, and I was like, what just happened? Like, that was my first ever, like, experience of it. So moving forward, we have this one room called the mausoleum, and this story, every time I have told it, every time I have told other people it, freaks me out.
She has
We
some
have
stories, man.
2 demons
Pause it.
that are, well, technically 3, but we have 2 demons that are very gut-wrenching.
What?
So you say you've worked in, well, you don't say. I know you've worked in haunted houses before.
Yeah.
Is that spandex theory real? Or have you worked in haunted houses with the spandex before?
That you can't, where you can see
You can't
through
get
it?
pulled out of it.
You can't?
Like, can you seriously not be pulled out of it?
Out of the spandex?
Yeah.
I think with enough force, you can get pulled through it.
So you don't think a little kid could pull her through it then?
Honestly, probably, dude. If it doesn't take much with spandex. She probably ripped the spandex from the nails, like she said, and pulled her down.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I took it. That the way the spandex room is, it's stretched from the ceiling to the floor, and then stretched through the hallway, and then the actors are on the other side, and then they just reach their hand through it where it looks like their hands are coming through the wall and stuff. That's a really cool haunt trick, and I think that's a really good idea too, to have that knowledge, to especially in a haunted house. The doll, Rosie's doll, that's kind of iffy. It's kind of scary.
Yeah.
I'm definitely gonna touch it. I think that'd be cool. Honestly, I probably wouldn't, because there's always like stories that could be real, could not be real.
Right.
But we still got a bunch to listen. So she is really convinced that this stuff is happening here, and this is exactly what we want. So let's hop right back in if you're ready.
Let's go.
And no matter how many times you tell them to stay away.
Again, we're not trying to judge you whatsoever. This is just us talking.
They don't care and they don't listen. They are like 100% what a demon would be. There was a night I was working in this room called Mausoleum, and it was one of our bigger rooms. It consisted of 4 columns in the middle. People will walk through pipes from the other room to get to my room, or the room, I should say, because I only worked in it for 2 nights. And it was just a lot. It was very gut-wrenching, and all the spirits you could tell were just latched into that room, especially Blackface. He was constantly there. There was no
That's
way
okay.
that he was not going to be there
Sorry.
whatsoever. He loved messing
Hard
with
to
the
say that.
customers.
It's hard to.
Well, there was a
It's
night
hard to.
where it was like maybe a group of 3 or 4 customers. They were walking through, and there was a woman in the front.
Listen.
And then
Hold
there
up.
was
Hold up. It's the blackface thing that got me. Yeah. So it's funny. It's funny. That word's hilarious. But she's talking about a ghost, so.
Yeah, don't get your panties in a wad. Let's go.
We're live.
I know. Let's go.
Let's get this.
there was 2 women in the front and then 2 men in the back. So I was scaring them through. They're walking to the little maze area to get to the next room, which was boiler room. And
what'd you do?
the girl in the second girl was like, hey, did you just touch my ankle? And he was like, no, I can't even bend down right now. My hands are
Well, did it stop playing?
Yeah.
Hold up. Stopping stream, bringing it back. Guess who's back? Back again. She's back. There it is. I gotta go back
It's maybe a group of 3 or 4 customers. They were walking through, and there was a woman in the front, and then there was 2 women in the front, and then
It's
2 men
not
in the
playing.
back. So
What? The front
I was
door?
scaring them through. They're walking to the little maze area to get to the next room, which was boiler room, and
Join it. And it's paused again.
columns in the middle.
There we go.
People will walk through pipes from the other room to get to my room, or the room, I should say, because I only worked in it for 2 nights. And it was just a lot. It was very gut-wrenching, and all the spirits you could tell were just latched into that room, especially Blackface. He was constantly there. There was no way that he was not going to be there whatsoever. He loved messing with the customers. Well, there was a night where it was maybe a group of 3 or 4 customers. They were walking through, and there was a woman in the front, and then there was 2 women in the front and then 2 men in the back. So I was scaring them through. They're walking to the little maze area to get to the next room, which was boiler room, and the girl in the second girl was like, hey, did you just touch my ankle? And he was like, no, I can't even bend down right now. My hands are on your shoulders. And she was like, well, did you step on me? He's like, I don't think so. And then I was like, are you okay? She was like, yeah, no. And then all of a sudden her ankle started to feel like burning. And I immediately was like, okay, let's go to my manager. I brought her over to my manager, and you can see this like ashy like hand mark just on like where her Achilles of her ankle was, and you could just see the mark of her being grabbed, and it was insane. And I was just like, oh my god, I really don't want to go back to this room, but I'm gonna have to because we still have like 3 hours left of, you know, working until closing. So I go back into the room, and there was this group that just went through whatever, you know, and then after that group went through, mind you, it's later in the same night, and it's later on in the night, and we're waiting for the next group to come in. We have about maybe like 3 minutes until they get to the room, or my room at least. So I'm talking with 2 of my coworkers through this drop window. We're goofing around, you know, we're just laughing, you know, whatever. And all of a sudden, my hand starts to feel like it's being burned, like really bad. It hurt so bad. I felt like my hand was on a stove top at like the highest heat possible. And I'm looking at it, and I can just see boils on my skin. And I knew at that moment that it wasn't blackface that was there with me that night anymore. It was redface. To make it hot and cold, they were not turned, so the water was just on. And I turn on the light, and I look at my hand really quick to like put it under the water, and my hand was normal. No boils on my hand, no redness. The stinging was still there, but nothing was on my hand anymore. My hand was back to normal, and I was like, what is going on? I was freaking out, and I told my manager, I was like, listen, I know it's towards the end of the night. I can't work that room anymore. I can't. I'm not going to. And he said, that's fine. So
I want to do that.
And the night comes, we finish, whatever.
Nope.
Every Sunday at our haunted house, we call it blackout nights, where
Yeah,
all
Denton
the lights
Schoolhouse
are turned off
has stuff like that.
every single haunt that we have, and we have 2 of them. We have Little Haunt and Big Haunt. I worked in Big Haunt 24/7. With Big Haunt, you get a glow stick one per group, and
I couldn't
our
do that.
eyes, the
Nope.
actors' eyes, already had adjusted to it. We had a group come in, and this kind of like freaks me out.
A lot of people, if you've noticed, I'll pause this real quick.
Maybe a group of like,
If you notice that people that, and this happens to me all the time when I talk about like my paranormal experiences and stuff, you yawn. I yawn all the time if I talk about it, and I just get a big old yawn, and it just comes out. It just comes out of nowhere. I don't know if it's like bringing back memories or whatever, but I always yawn when I talk about it. It's really weird. Anyways.
6 or 7 people. It was like multiple drunk men and just like 2 or 3 women. I can't remember. And they're walking through, and at this moment I was working in what is known as the hallway, which is literally just a long hallway, and then you make a turn and it's another hallway, make another turn, it leads you to the morgue. So in this hallway I had a lamp, and in order for it to like, you know, make a weird sound, like a little like a little ticking sound kind of, I had a remote, and I pressed the button and it wasn't working, and I was really confused as to why. So then I was like, okay, maybe it's just like something that I'm doing wrong. Maybe it's just on me. It was not me. The person that I was working with in that room said that he didn't touch the lamp whatsoever. The owner said he's never touched it. Everyone that has worked in that room ever since the start of the haunt season, like of us opening, said they never touch the lamp, and they've only used the remote. And I'm like, okay. And it was just unplugged. So I was like, this is weird. Let me just plug it back in. I went to go plug it back in, and I heard a voice just say, don't plug it in. And I was like, okay, so I have a friend. Cool. Night ends, and we go into the next week. Another blackout night. Before we open, before I got into makeup, before anything, the owner tells me, you know, just sweep up my room a little bit, you know, get any, you know, wrappers, garbage, so on and so forth out of there. So I'm like, okay. I go in there, and I'm sweeping and sweeping and sweeping, and all of a sudden, I hear whistling. And it's not like your normal, you know, whistle a tune. No, it's a very horror movie type of whistle. It is conjuring, and it's trying to lure you in pretty much. And so I'm just sitting there, and then I hear again, don't plug it in. And I'm like, okay, what is going on? I'm freaking out. So I don't see anything. That's all I'm hearing is just the whistling. And I'm like, and I scream out loud, since we have like open roofs, to the rooms. I was like, hey, is anyone out here? Like, is anybody around? And then all I hear from green room, which is known as like the break room, no one's in the haunt right now unless you're sweeping, but the only other person that's sweeping is the person that's in the first room. Why? And I'm like, I'm on my way. So I scream
forget that.
and I take the broom with me, take the dustpan, and I'm like, I don't know who's in here, but whoever's in here, you do not have a right to follow me. You cannot follow me whatsoever. You must go back to where you have came from. So I run to the front, I run to green room, and I'm talking to my friend, and I'm like, listen, like, this is what happened. She goes, go to this manager. So I'm like, oh geez. I'm like, okay. So I go to a certain manager, and I tell him, hey, heard some whistling, kind of creepy. What happened? Like, what's going on? And he was like, okay. He's like, let me see your back. I was like, why? He's like, let me see your back. I was like, okay. So I lift my shirt, and there was a massive handprint on my back. And he goes, do you have anything to cleanse yourself with? Do you have any, like, you know, anything at all whatsoever that can help you? Do you have crystals? Do you have, you know, something to get this spirit away? And I was like, yeah, I do, in my car. And he was like, okay, go. So I go to my car, I sage the living crap out of myself. And then, you know, I say, you know, a little spell to make sure that that demon stays away from me. I come back, and he tells me, you know, I go back to that same manager, and he tells me, that is known as the Whistler. If he sounds far away, that means he is close. If he sounds close up to you, he is actually far away, and he's trying to lure you in. Thank goodness that nothing else had happened, because if that was to happen, he would try and take over your soul. And I just was like, okay. And he was like, normally he stays in Chainsaw. And Chainsaw is literally just a bunch of rooms with a bunch of people that use the fake chainsaws. So, and he was like, yeah, no, like, thank God he only stays in Chainsaw with us. I don't know why he's starting to roam. We're going to have to put a closing spell on this. I was like, okay. So that's mainly all that I can really think of that has happened to me. I have had a coworker tell me that she has been pulled, like, yanked across a room, like she got dragged entirely across a room. I've heard that, you know, another coworker has told me that she saw a man, a very tall man with a top hat, standing at the end of a hallway, which he was, a very tall man with a top hat, just staring her down while she was going on her break. And she was like, hey, like, are you lost? Thinking it was a customer. And the person just started sprinting towards her. And she thought it was a scare actor. And she was like, haha, you're not going to scare me. And it passed through her. And she felt like, she told me she felt this wind chill. And then she felt nothing. Her limb, everything just went weak. She didn't feel anything. Later on, found out that she was actually taken to the hospital to get checked out. And, you know, she, lo and behold, did happen to start to get sick. She did not pass away. She's healed, thank the Lord, and all that. So, but yeah, it was just a very scary experience. And knowing that I have to work there again this season coming up, it's gonna scare me. But I know I'll be okay. My coworkers will be okay. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to that. If you have any other questions, feel free to just message me on the email that I'm going to be sending this on to you. Appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Well, for one, if I worked in a haunt like that, I would not go back. Because haunted houses are alone. Just basically, you're in a horror movie. But to experience things like that, it's either one of those things. We're not saying we don't believe you, but we're doing all this to basically say let's see if this stuff is real, 100%. Andrew probably believes in more than I do, or I believe in less, or whatever. I'm like at 80% of belief of the paranormal. The other 20% is mainly in my adult life. I've seen a lot of stuff when I was a kid, but now since I'm an adult, I haven't really seen anything. And again, I don't know if it's my imagination has died down or whatever. I want to believe. I want to see things, and I want to experience the unknown and the questionable things that happen around you. But what she's going through seems fucked. She seems like a pretty spiritual person. That she even says she's a medium, and
yeah,
that's a tough one because like I'm sorry.
If it is something paranormal, then it must sense that in her. Senses something in her that wants to
Be known.
No.
Unknown.
I don't know.
What do you mean?
Like she's more sensitive to the paranormal
Than other people.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I can see
they're
that.
attacking her more than a regular person.
I wonder.
Or she feels more than a normal person does.
Yeah, I wonder like what it feels like to hands down just go through that. Like if it's like 100% real, and for a fact it is. I mean, obviously, like we don't know if it's 100% real. Doesn't mean we're saying it's not. We didn't see it, so right now we're just listening to it. Eventually it'd be cool to visit this paranormal freaking kingdom.
Yeah.
I think that's a what is it called? Something chaos.
World of Khaous, I believe.
World of Khaous.
And it's what it sounds like it is.
It sounds like a huge world of chaos.
Before and after hours. Or during and after hours.
Mm-hmm. I don't know.
So if you're an investigator in Texas, World of Khaous is where I would go.
Yeah, hands down. Because that sounds like a
lot of that stuff that was said, we would need to see the proof.
Yeah, I'm looking up the haunt.
Especially with like the baby doll.
I'm looking up the haunt right now. Tickets must be outdoor. Haunted house reviews. Welcome to the World of Chaos. Test your nerves. All right. Let's read the reviews. I wonder if anybody read reviews or anything. I can't review views. Okay, haunted houses. Oh, this place looks. It kind of reminds me of like an old school haunt.
Like how old school?
Like
Chambers?
A little bit better than Chambers. Say about when Land of Illusion, back in the day.
Oh, okay.
So they look good. Place looks pretty cool. But dude, that's a thing I want to. Oh, dude, there's the doll. No, that's an actual person. Never mind. I was about to say, holy shit, there's the fucking doll. I don't know. I think that's an interesting story to give out to us. Thank you, Zora, for giving that to us. That's pretty cool. And Andrew, that is. I think we got ourselves a future investigation.
for sure. I'd like to do that one.
Yeah, that'd be like a cheap plane ticket to Texas. You ever flown on a plane?
Yeah, to Florida.
You didn't like it, did you?
I was 9,
Oh yeah, you didn't really care. But yeah,
but I didn't have any adults with me.
Oh, you just went by yourself?
Yeah.
9 years old?
Yeah, they had a chaperone come and meet me at the airport
For what?
because I was underage.
Oh, you couldn't get into bars or anything?
What?
No, I think that's a pretty interesting story. Again, I appreciate that.
Zora.
Z. I'm gonna call her Z because I can't. So, thank you, Z, for so much for sending us that. We'll definitely keep in touch, and if you find out any other people that has experienced this stuff, and then since you're working there this year, don't be afraid to try to capture some footage and send it to us, and we can post it and stuff. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Any like voice recordings and stuff. We would love to hear some spooky, scary stuff. Other than that, Andrew B. Bolin, do you have anything to say to the lovely crowd of the 13th podcast?
So, since the first Haunted Ohio podcast, we have been grinding, and I mean absolutely grinding. And I think we may have locked in a special guest. So just stay tuned for that.
Mm-hmm. Be really cool for all you paranormal people out there. Again, guys, we're still learning about the paranormal. We're learning about a little bit of everything. We're throwing ourselves into the wolves. 100%.
Yep.
We've experienced personal things in our lives where it's questionable, where we're just like, yo, dude, like, what ruined it for me was the technology that's on YouTube now, and people that use the effects, and some of the stuff you're like, come on now, that's obvious. That's obviously a man in a raincoat dressed up as Bigfoot. It's like, the ghost thing, like there was a black mass, like, dude, that was a spider crawling on a camera.
Right. Yeah, I think through the research that we have done,
yeah, man. Through the research we've done, we have found hard evidence, good evidence, but then there's some, it's like, man, I don't know. We actually came across a really cool YouTube team called Ghost Theory.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
Ghost Theory is wow.
They're YouTube investigators, so they don't really have a show on History Channel or anything like that, like Travel Channel or anything. But what makes them stand out amongst others is they don't have little gimmicks. They don't have music playing during their investigations or edited videos of. You can tell it's not edited to where you hear a knock and it's like, oh,
Like,
that was a knock.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
At first, it's like, I don't know about that, but the footsteps really got me.
Yeah, and I mean, it's two guys. They're sitting there filming each other pretty much, and you can see if they knock, if they kick something. But like I said, we don't really know
because we weren't
we
there.
want proven wrong or proven right, and eventually we're going to venture off ourselves and bring you guys along with us.
Absolutely. I think that will be a grand old time to, sit down with a bunch of random people and bring you guys along the show. When we do go to investigations, I plan on going live on TikTok, so you guys will see that live on YouTube, and just share it out.
Live on Facebook too.
Maybe not Facebook.
Okay.
But Instagram, hell yeah, probably. But it's a long time coming. We'll get it through it. Right now, we're just talking to people, setting up little connections with stuff, and I think with everything what we're doing is good. We just got to keep on climbing up that ladder of all this crazy stuff, man. These people are just legit about it. They're legit about it, and I want to learn more about it.
Yeah.
Especially about this whole Bigfoot thing. Why is it such a mess?
Yeah. How many Bigfoot sightings can you have in one day? Is it one Bigfoot, two big feet?
I don't know. Maybe it's Bigfoot with a stub.
Who knows? Right? There's videos out there of guys taking videos through the woods, and they're like, "Oh, look, there's a big black mass, and it's snowing." You can definitely tell it's hunting season. So
People are running.
You don't know unless you're up and close and personal.
Yeah, with Bigfoot.
Yeah, but paranormal seems like it's more. It's a realm that you can prove compared to extraterrestrial or Bigfoot. It's just a wild goose chase then.
Yeah.
But if you guys have any experiences or proof or evidence of anything, you can email us at the 13th podcast show at gmail.com.
Yep.
We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
And if you want, we can set up meetings, interviews
on Zoom, Discord, Facebook.
Possibly get you on the podcast with us.
Yeah. Yeah, we do everything off Discord right now. We're slowly getting into Zoom for the interviews and stuff. We are definitely down to talk about anything and everything when it comes to mythology, paranormal, mythological,
yeah.
folklore, witches, Salem witches. That'd be cool. Anything that involves like the Civil War back in the Gettysburg, all them ghost experience, anything that involves ghosts, honestly, and aliens and all that other just conspiracies and stuff like that's what I'm trying to go for, and that's what we're trying to do for the 13th podcast. So other than that, Andrew B. Bolin, do you have anything to say?
Thank you for listening.
All right, thank you for listening, guys. Again, guys, we are on Apple Podcast, Amazon Podcast, Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TikTok, YouTube, and growing. We do weekly videos and shows and little snippets here and there. So check us out on mainly TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, and you'll see our new shit. Other than that, I'm Mortis, and that's Andrew B. Bolin, and you guys have a wonderful night, morning, afternoon, or whatever. We will see you guys soon.
We found parts of the bodies all over the house, in places you wouldn't think. The funny thing is the heads have never been found. Hands and feet and things like that, but no heads.